Well, we got Mr. Mark Zuckerberg having to apologize to the parents of children that have had, let me just say, issues with the sites and services that Mark Zuckerberg and the other four CEOs of these other Instagram, Meta, Twitter, Snapchat, you know the crew. But at any rate, these five CEOs showed up today for questioning in Congress involving exploitation and the addiction of the way their algorithm is set up on their websites, about how it's all about the cash cow, no matter who it hurts, including influencing children to commit suicide and directioning children and teenagers into looking at stuff that they normally wouldn't look into. This thing lasted for several hours. There were several great comments made, but the truth of the matter is Mark Zuckerberg took it on the chin more than anybody else. They grilled him more than most. For the fact of the matter is he owns a couple of these platforms that were on the chopping block today, as far as the term goes. But Senator Josh Hawley destroyed Mr. Zuckerberg today, Mark Zuckerbucks, as Mike Lindell would call him, and for good reason. These people have lost their kids. Kids have been traumatized. Kids have been taken advantage of through these social media sites, and a lot of it is because there is no guardrails for or any kind of monitoring to prevent things like human trafficking and God knows all kinds of other things that I can't really talk about on this channel at the moment. But there is so much that goes on involving drugs and the sale of humans and bartering that is illegal, on certain kind of bartering that is illegal on so many levels. But it still continues to happen, including the fact that these platforms tend to promote this stuff, including pornography, no matter what age you are. They don't really have any guardrails up at this point. It's because Section 230 needs to be repealed. If you don't know what that is the protection racket that all the big tech companies come up with, and Congress signed on to, which basically gives all the tech companies full immunity for anything that is ever said, done, or happened because of what's on their sites. Basically, a blanket immunity. They need to be turned into what you would call a publicist, like a book writer or something. That way, Section 230 could actually apply to them, or they need to repeal Section 230 one way or another. These big tech oligarchs need to be held accountable for the way they run their sites. Not only do they censor, they do many things to try to sway elections, and they promote all kinds of illegal activities, including promoting pornography to people under 18. Just, it is what it is, and I'm glad to see people like Josh Hawley calling it out. Listen to this whole video here. You see this, folks? This is what happens to Twitter when something is trending so hard that can't nobody get through. I've been trying to get on Twitter for several minutes now through this site here, and it is doing nothing but a spool. So we'll find another way. Lucky for us, we've got good old trusty YouTube. Now, I'm not going to play you the full clip of the video, folks. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long, but I will let you know, starting right here, Josh Hawley is drilling and grilling Mark Zuckerberg about the teenagers, and it's not long he gets into what Mark Zuckerberg really needs to be thinking about: compensation, apologies, regret, something to show he's human, something to let the parents know that he was in the wrong, and nothing he can do can change that, but he can sure try to do something to make it better, and that's a fact. Josh Hawley puts him on the hot seat. Check it out, folks.
Between the ages of 13 and 15 years old, 37% of them reported that they had been exposed to nudity on the platform unwanted in the last 7 days. 24% said that they had experienced unwanted sexual advances they'd been propositioned in the last 7 days. 17% said they had encountered self-harm content pushed at them in the last 7 days. Now, I know you're familiar with these stats because he sent you an email where he lined it all out. I mean, we've got a copy of it right here. My question is, who did you fire for this? Who got fired because of that?
Senator, we study all of this because it's important and we want to improve our services.
Well, you just told me
And
a second ago you studied it, that there was no linkage. Who did you fire?
I said you mischaracterized.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all
Who
these
did you
different
fire?
tools. Senator, I don't think that's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any.
There's the answer, folks. He's not going to answer the question. That means he didn't fire anybody. No repercussions for such horrific things on at his company.
Significant
I don't
action.
think it's appropriate to talk about like
It's not
individual
appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single person? Let me ask you this. Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims? These girls, have you compensated them?
I don't believe so.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done? Help with counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services caused?
Our job is to make sure that we build tools to help keep people safe.
Are you
across
going
our
to compensate them?
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful content,
make money.
take it off the services,
To make money.
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you
that
didn't
help
take
work
any
with-
action, you didn't
That's
take
not
any
true,
action, you
Senator.
didn't fire anybody, you haven't
not true.
compensated a
That's
single
not-
victim.
that's
Let
not
me
what I
ask you
said.
this, let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims?
Get him.
Would you like to do so now?
Well,
They're here, you're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures.
Watch him squirm, folks.
Goddamn devil! Down!
Watch him squirm, folks.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
I'm sorry for everything that you've all been through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
You know, why, Mr. Zuckerberg, why should your company not be sued for this?
That's
Why
right.
is it that you can claim, you hide behind a liability shield, you can't be held accountable? Shouldn't you be held accountable personally? Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I think I've already answered this. I mean, these
Well,
are
try
serious
this again.
issues.
Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I view my job and the job of our company as building the best tools that we can to keep our community safe.
Well, you're failing at
and
that.
Well, Senator, we're doing an industry-leading effort. We build AI tools
nonsense. Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire. Will you commit to compensating the victims? Will you set up a
Yeah.
compensation fund
Senator,
with your
I
money?
think these are
With your money.
complicated- Senator, these are complicated
Yes,
issues.
no, that's not a complicated question, though. That's a
Senator,
yes or no.
this is-
Will you set up a victims' compensation fund with your money? The money you made on these families sitting behind you? Yes or no?
Senator,
Putting him on the spot.
I don't think that's my job is to
Sounds
make sure
like
that
a
we
no.
build good tools. My
Sounds
job
like a
is
no.
to make sure that
Your job is to be responsible for what your company has done. You've made billions of dollars on the people sitting behind them. Are you here? You've done nothing to help them. You've done nothing to compensate them. You've done nothing to put it right. You could do so here today, and you should. You should, Mr. Zuckerberg. Before my time expires, Mr. Chu, let me just ask you.
Woo! That was something else, folks, and that was probably the best take I got out of watching several minutes of this stuff today. Like I said, Mark Zuckerberg took a lot of questions today, and he is like Christopher Wray to me, and Mayorkas, and all these other clowns that work in our government. He just has no feeling, no heart, no soul. no sense of compassion, regret, shame. I think money and power, like most of the people in Washington, is all that matters to people like him. That's the truth of the matter, folks. You can just see it. Anybody that's helping exploit children for a profit, well, there's a place for them too. I won't go there, but God will judge.